Get full episodes of The Damage Report as a podcast on iTunes and Android, and you can watch the live show every weekday on YouTube TV.
A quick update on Nancy Pelosi. So Nancy Pelosi had some people within the Democratic Party who had originally expressed a desire not to back them. Two of them were Marcia Fudge, and the other one was Brian Higgins, and they have both since flipped. So Brian Higgins originally said he was not gonna back her. He was part of that group that was gonna provide some kind of resistance. And nope, today he said he got the wins he wanted.
Yes.
There were two big priorities he had, which were a major infrastructure package and legislation dealing with the Medicare enrollment page. The Medicare enrollment age, and he says some will ask why I have changed my position. The answer is simple. I took a principled stand on issues of vital importance, not only to my constituents in Western New York, but also to more than 300 million Americans whose lives will be improved by progress in these areas.
So the first thing you wonder right away, at least that I wondered right away, was okay. There was vehement opposition and challengers to Nancy Pelosi, and then something changed. So behind the scenes, something happened. Yeah. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, I didn't read the details of what it was that happened, but she's supporting her as well. And that's been the name that a lot of, I'm not calling them new Democrats, but like this wave of progressivism within the Democratic Party of these new representatives, a lot of times she's the name that everyone has at the forefront of their minds. So when that headline hit, people thinking, oh my gosh, what happened?
Right.
But people got what they wanted, and now the question is, what were those things, and what is it in exchange for?
Yeah, and this is the discussion that has been had. Well, definitely, if not Nancy, then who? And I think a lot of people just earnestly want that question. I think it's asked rhetorically by a lot of people who are like, listen, you progressive idiot, welcome to the party. If not her, then who? And it doesn't make me feel particularly good.
Right.
I hate when it's framed that way. But practically speaking, if not Nancy Pelosi, then who? There was Barbara Lee was kind of floated by some people. Marcia Fudge was one of the people who were floated as possibilities to replace Pelosi. And if you look at our lower third, you will see she is one of the people who flipped. So the potential person who might have opposed Nancy and taken her place is saying, nah, she's good.
And I want to point out how forcefully Marcia Fudge came out against her. When she was asked, of course, there was the push from many establishment and also in many establishment media outlets that were saying, hey, look at this ageism and sexism that they're pushing. They're saying that Nancy is too old and that she's too woman to do it, right? And so, but she's been fighting for these decades, and who's more powerful and who's more experienced than Nancy Pelosi? It has nothing to do with age. So then here comes Marcia Fudge, who's not 22 years old, and happens to be a woman as well. So that seemed like it was the perfect opposition to it, to those arguments that were being, I guess, characterized on this opposing group. And she even came forward and said, hey, you know, we're talking about wins. Nancy Pelosi loses. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Right.
There's no way this is a fight. There's no taking this back. You know, it's like before a pre-fight for a heavyweight bout.
Right.
And the two guys face to face and somebody throws a punch. They're not gonna be cool after that.
Right. It also though makes it kind of feel like the Pacquiao pre-fight with I forget the guy's name, where Pacquiao couldn't keep a straight face yesterday when they were doing the pre-fight, and he's trying to
I didn't even see this, huh?
Yeah, and he kind of cracked the whole time. I don't know, but this makes it so that the priority absolutely has to be on keeping the pressure up for people within the progressive wing of the party who are saying, for one sense of it, it's very frustrating to have to hold out for stuff like this.
Yeah, there's a level. I'm trying to get the right acronym for the committee, so I'm not going to mess it up. But there's an extra position she's going to create within a committee that has some level of influence on her decision makings and where the agenda goes within the party, and that's probably one of the concessions she's given. And it sounds weird that it's just one more position, but who's going to hold it, and what kind of influence will they have? Before it's like a 3-person panel they'd created probably in 2010 or so, and now they're adding one to it. So it's little things like that. And when I got into the minutia of that, I was like, ugh. I said, no one really knows how this works, honestly. And we just hear, oh, everyone's backing Nancy Pelosi, and that's kind of the end of the story that most people will read into.
Right, but it comes back to during the primary, there was all the Bernie Hillary stuff, but during that, one of the wins that progressives felt we could take away from it was changing the party platform.
Right.
And then similarly to hear, more infrastructure spending. Like prioritizing infrastructure and changing and making sure more people get health care. Oh my God, we had to hold out for that within the Democratic Party?
Yeah, and then you know what? I'm not sure if it was you also that I spoke to about it. Then we have the president, Trump, obviously this guy, coming forward like full-throated support for Nancy Pelosi. She's earned it. I mean, the day after the midterms went down, she's earned it. Whatever she's been there for so long, she's a powerful force for the Democratic Party. I was like, what is he talking about? So when things start to happen like that, you start to think,
well, he's got his bits. He's already got his bits lined up.
I had my assumptions, right?
Well, for him, he's like, don't throw me in the briar patch. He's like, I know all my Nancy, crazy Nancy or whatever. Some he's already got his nickname for her. He doesn't want to have to do his homework and find out new burns. To put on people.
But that's what I think it was. It's twofold. He figures Nancy Pelosi's not going to do what a lot of these new progressive wing will do once they're in power, as far as investigations and looking at whatever he's done, and he can continue to use her as the bad guy. The Hillary Clinton, the Nancy Pelosi, you can always push to win more elections later because
he's always the lack of anything additionally getting passed with a split House and Senate, and he's not going to have any of his initiatives get anywhere through any kind of legislative body. So he's going to blame it on whoever the leader is anyway. So there's that.
And the established name is Nancy Pelosi. That's already been burrowed in their heads. We know how propaganda works.
Yep.
Hillary Clinton, Nancy Pelosi. Don't you hate them? You don't have to really know why, but go, this has been horrible, Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah, and the pressure needs to be kept up by the progressives in the party, and you guys gotta let us know what you think about it.
Thank you very much for watching this clip from the Damage Report. If you liked it, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and ring the bell on YouTube to get notifications of our new videos. And of course, you can catch the full Damage Report live every weekday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific on TYT Network on YouTube TV.